And hello everyone, this is FarsTrapa. Today new videos, today a new flight report. A flight about the Shenzhen Airlines A330 from Chengdu to Shenzhen. So here you see me at the outside of Chengdu Shuangliu airport, so the old airport of Chengdu, but is still in service, still has many flights from it. So yeah, I didn't have to check my bag and I was a little bit late that day, so we speedrun through the terminal entrance. So here you can see me directly walking towards the security, an airport that feels a little bit older, of course, compared to the new airport in Chengdu, but I mean it's still very big, it's still very usable. But yeah, of course there are many less flights from here than before, and also it's an airport that's way closer to the city. So here you see me on the outside with the security being passed. There was some people, but it was alright. I waited a little bit. So here you can see me going to the wrong gate. It really wasn't the gate to board to my flight. So here you can see me stressing a little bit and then looking at the map and then finally figuring out where my gate is supposed to be. And then just in a couple of seconds you will see me begin to travel to that gate. You can see that I was really entirely wrong. So now while I'm walking, let's talk a little bit more about the specificity of this flight. Of course, it's a pretty common flight between two mega cities in China. The specificity is it's just that it happens on an Airbus A330, which is a wide body, which is an airplane that is often used for long haul flights. But yeah, this time it was for a very short trip, a little bit under 2 hours. So yeah, nothing very special, but it's really nice to have a wide body on that distance, and always nice to check out a new airline's wide body. So here you can see me go down to the section where my flight was located. So here you can see it's of course bus gates. You can see there's a couple of shops here, but of course less stuff than on the upper side. So here you can see my gate, and the big problem was the flight was very heavily delayed, and at some point it was so delayed that the crew just handed out instant noodle for us to wait for. So that was a nice move, but at the same time we had to wait like 3 or 4 extra hours. So yeah, it was a big delay, and finally we got onto the bus and we started boarding. Always nice to have a little bus tour of an airport, but you will see that this Shuangliu airport, so the old airport in Chengdu, is now mainly used by Air China and Shenzhen Airlines, and the other carriers have mainly moved to the new airport at Tianfu, which is really further away from the city. So here you can see us starting to move the planes, which are mainly A320 families. Here you can see a cute little A319 from Air China, and finally we start to move again. And then you can see it, there it is, our A330 of the day, who isn't really new. I think it was the age of 7 years old at the time. So here you can see me unboarding the bus and then finally boarding that very magnificent plane. I think Shenzhen Airlines have a pretty beautiful livery. So now you can see me boarding that plane. The cabin, which is surprisingly in a blue shade. I would of course have thought it to be more in a red because of the colors of the company, but I guess it could be an airplane that have similarities with Air China because it's the parent company. So yeah. You can see the seat, which is very well equipped. Here is the safety video that is playing, you can see, and we'll talk more about the seat just a little bit later, but it was overall a great seat, very modern. Here you can see us pushing back. The good thing was once we got on board the plane, everything went smoothly. We didn't have to wait too long, so that's at least a nice part. So yeah, the security video was of course still playing during the pullback, and here you can see the very long rolling at Shuangliu airport. That's often the case in China. We have a lot of distance to cover, and then you can see finally the liftoff video. Now that we are in the air, let's take a bigger look at the seat, which has a pretty big screen that is adjustable, that can be done with a remote, but honestly it's a touch screen, so the remote is kinda useless. Then you can see the tray table, which is foldable and also retractable. That's kind of the standard in 2024. You can see the seat back pocket with all the content that I show you. So here you can see the instructions to connect to the in-flight Wi-Fi, which I show you later. Here you can see the safety instructions. Again, pretty classical, nothing much to say about it. And then we have the in-flight magazine, which is very nice because as often airlines in China, they still offer those paper version of magazines. So yeah, didn't really have much of AvGeek interesting content, but there was some info on their new services and also a flight map of all their destinations. We also have a pair of headsets that was given complimentary, so it was totally free. That's a very nice part again, pretty quality headphone. And we have a footstep, which is often found on Chinese carriers, so the legroom was decent, although not incredible. Here are universal power outlets. Here you can see the passenger service unit as well as the lighting, as well as the luggage storage, and finally a coat hanger. So yeah, a pretty decent seat. Here is the back of the seat, which has a adjustable headrest in all the three sides and also up and down. Quickly after departing, a first drink was served, and then a couple of minutes later a second drink was served alongside the main meal. So yeah, here it is. That's of course the very bright point of Chinese carriers who often very complete meal like the one. Here is a little bag of crisp, and here is a Chinese condiment, and here is a cake for dessert. We have of course the wet wipes and the essentials. So now let's explore the IFE, which is a little less complete than what you might find on other carriers, but it did the job honestly. So here are the settings. Now first of all, we have a section about information about Shenzhen Airlines, so it was pretty interesting, but not much to say either. We have also a chat section which is pretty rare. I don't really remember seeing it on airlines very often, so yeah, it's very cool. And it also have rooms of specific topics you want to discuss. Here is the flight map, which is a really impressive one. Yeah, so very complete with a lot of customizable options. You can see here all the options that we were able to choose and see. The flight was a really bright system with a lot of filters, a lot of options, so overall a very good experience. Now let's check out the entertainment section with the movies, which had a decent selection again of mainly Chinese movies. For the TV shows, again, not a very bright, but it did the job. And to end, music, which often isn't very good on airplanes, and it's the case. So now let's check out the onboard Wi-Fi, which as often displays some useful facts like when we were going to landing, and also just some information about the company, which was useful. And yeah, some movies also to stream on your device, but as we have an IFE, it was a bit useless. So if you wanted to connect to the internet, you just had to enter a couple of personal information and you will go. So here is the landing on the impressive seas of Shenzhen. Again, a pretty long sliding in Shenzhen Bao'an Airport, which is again a very big and modern airport in China. The very bad point that is that we were required again to take a bus, so 2 buses in a flight, it's a lot. And the funny part was that the crew handed out a raincoat because it was kinda rainy outside. So yeah, it was a very nice touch, very well thought of them. Actually, it wasn't really needed because it had stopped raining by the time I got outside. But yeah, so it just shows that the crew and globally the airlines cares a little bit. Of course, they have difficult weather conditions, but it's not really their fault, and they are trying their best to accommodate their customers, and at least it's what I felt during this flight. Pretty unlucky airlines, like I said. And another unlucky stuff is that when we deboarded, the first bus departed, and then for a very long time the bus did not come. I don't know what happened, but we waited a solid 15 minutes just waiting there, standing in the tarmac. So it wasn't necessarily bad, but it was a very bit long, and I don't know what happened. And yeah, so you can see the accelerated footage, but again the crew was very nice and thoughtful, and at some point the wait was so long that they handed us water bottle. So yeah, it really shows their dedications. But again, the weather is complicated, so yeah, you can see the water bottle here. And finally the bus has arrived and we were finally going to the airport. Okay, so here you can see the very modern and very bright airport of Shenzhen Bao'an at night with all its lights on, we are going to enter the entrance section of the airport. So yeah, I think it's time to wrap up. Overall, it was a decent flight with very bad luck because of the weather. The flight was delayed, but I mean, it's really not their fault. The airline was great, the seat was great, and the food was great. So yeah, it's the end of this video. If you liked it, well, consider see my other flight reports, and we say bye.